In this project, we are going to build a disease prediction system using machine learning. We will take patient symptoms as input and predict the most probable disease using a trained model. So let's break down the code step by step. So all right, so you can see here, I already written the code in my Google Colab. So what you can do, you can just go to the description and you can get here and GitHub links and you know to downloading here this IPUNV file. As well as you will get here one CSV file, which is nothing but our datasets. Just click on here, click on upload button and you know to selecting here the datasets and click on opens. That's it, super simple. Now you can see here, this is CSV file and this is our datasets is uploaded in the sections, okay? Now what I can do, I am simply going to explaining all the code line by line. So first, what you can do basically, we are going to import it here on the important library. So first we import here NumPy as NP. NumPy is basically help you to do some kind of numerical operations, and we also using here as keyword. It's nothing but for alias, so that you don't need to type here NumPy again and again. You can call it as NP. Same thing for Pandas. So Pandas is for data analysis, data manipulations, as well as you can load the datasets. Okay. And from SciPy, there starts, you also import here the mode. This is from the statistical library. And we also import here the matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. This is for visualizations, as well as we import here the Seaborn as SNS. So Seaborn is working in the top of the Matplotlib. This is also an visualization library, but it has so many other quality. I mean, using SNS, you can have a high quality graph or high quality plot. And then from scale under preprocessing, you import here the label encoder because you need to label encode our target variable. That's why. And from sklearn.model selections, we import here the train, test, and split. Basically, this is nothing but for train and testing, because in case of machine learning model, you need to taking here 80% data for trainings and 20% for the testing. Cool. Then cross validations is also important. You discuss this later on. And also you can see here a stratified cap fold. This is also you're going to discuss it later on. What is this actually? Okay. So then you also import here the SVM from Scikit-learn. You import the SBC support factor classifier, and Scikit-learn.nav bias. You import here the Gaussian NB, the decision tree classifier, random accuracy score, the confusion matrix, and see oversampling. We are going to import here the oversampling from RandomOverSampler. I mean, import it from the oversampling. Why? Because our data set is basically imbalanced. That's why you actually do taking here the minority classes and try to balance it. Okay. So in this case, maybe accuracy is low, but it's the perfect way. That how can you basically handling here uh, the imbalanced data sets in the case of disease, because you already do so many of the projects. However, we don't see this kind of imbalance things. We only see it in the credit card for predictions. Okay, so these are also great examples of the oversampling or undersampling, whatever you can say. Okay, and then Matplotlib inline. Now what I can do, I'm simply going to using here shift and enters, and you can see all like that. Okay. So what you can do now, we are simply going to checking here our data. You can take it here, this code, and you can just cutting here this line, because I am simply going to show this. Okay, I'm just going to cut it and I am simply going to run it here. And then I need to show the data. So I can say that data.head. So it will basically give me the preview of 5 data row that you can see: fever, headache, this disease. You'll get this data set also in the Kaggle. You can also download it, because I downloaded it from the Kaggle as well. And you can see here the disease. This is nothing but in the form of text. Okay, you can see here this is nothing but in the form of text. It's mean that we're actually converting here this disease column into the numerical. That's why. Okay, so you can see here we are basically creating here an instance of the encoder and try to fit it to our disease, because this is nothing but our the categorical columns. That's why. Okay. So now what I can do, we are also going to separate it, the X and Y, dependent and independent features, as well as we're simply going to do a count of them. Okay, before resampling and after resampling. Okay, before resampling and the after resampling. Okay, so what you can do, we're simply going to shift enters. And then you can see before resampling, you can see here some of the data is basically imbalanced. Now, what is basically the data imbalance? Let's say I have a data, the proportion of the data is basically 80%. So now if I have another data set or another data which is related to another features or another target column which is very low, let's say it's a 10%. It means that the data set is basically imbalanced. So make sure that data set is balanced. It may be 50-50% or 60-60% and 70-70%, not 80-20 like that. But if I see this sampling data, you can see some of the data is basically high frequency and some of the data have a low frequency. That's why data set is basically imbalanced. Okay, so what you can do is taking here this minority classes and try to fit with our the majority classes. That's why the oversampling. Okay, and you can see here there's our oversampling that you actually done it here. Okay, cool. And then we checking here if the gender column is here or not. Okay, if it have any kind of gender columns, we also going to take it out. If you using here any kind of other data sets which have the gender columns in the Kaggles, then you can also handle this out. If you have the genders, you can simply going to resampling these gender columns after the level encoder. Okay, and you can see resample and resample field now of 0, because if you have any kind of non value, you are going to resample them or you kind of fill them. And then you're simply going to check in the shape of the Y resample. Y resample is nothing but our target features. That's why. And you also resampling with the same things and also creating here an dictionary or you can say pipeline for our models. And you already imported here decision tree, a random forest classifier and the SBC. Okay, that you already discussed on here that this kind of thing on here. And you're also taking here CBS scoring as accuracy. So if I go on this board and I basically write down some of the thing on here. So what actually happening in case of cross validations? We are basically splitting our data set into 5 parts. So you can see in the code cross validations is code. That's why I am going to discuss it here. So and after that, how you basically splitting our data set into 5 parts. So train on 4 part and test on 1 part and repeat for the 5 times. This is called the cross validations. And after that, we calculating here the average of the accuracy. This is how we can basically increase our accuracy. We can increase our accuracy. It means that we are basically train our data set and try to do the shuffling. Okay, try to do the shuffling our data sets and train it for multiple times. You can take it 5, 10, whatever you can. Okay. So this is nothing but our cross validations. Again, I repeat, we split our data set into 5 parts and then train on 4 parts and test on 1 part and repeat for the 5 times. That's it. Okay, and after that we basically calculate the average accuracy. Let's say we have, let's say 0.1, let's say we have 0.8, let's say we have 0.9. We are basically taking the average of that. We can just simply going to join and try to divide it 3. So the average score is nothing but our accuracy in this case. Now why this extra T field? Okay, why this scaffold? Because it's preserving the class balance in each field. Because we have the multiple class, that's why you need to also preserve here the class balance in the each field. That's why. And now let's see the train multiple models that we chose. So first model we basically chose, that's called the decision tree classifier. So why you basically use it and what are the important for that? It's basically split the data based on some symptom condition. Based on some symptom condition, it can be the skin problem, it can be the fever, okay, it can be any kind of problem of gastric like that. So it's nothing but the symptom. So it's splitting the data based on some kind of symptom. That's why it's called decision tree. Decision trees don't look like that, the binary tree like that. If you have the knowledge of the DSA, you can know about this thing very well. Okay, so easy to interrupt and also can overfit problem. It's maybe the give you some of the problem called overfit problem. This kind of thing it maybe happen in the case of decision tree. And the random forest, it's basically collection of many decision tree. So we have when you have multiple amount of decision tree or multiple amount of decision tree, and when you basically combining here all of the decision tree and try to taking the average value or you can say average accuracy of that, this is called the random forest. So if you want to build this kind of model from a sketch, you can also follow my video. I already built a video machine learning model from sketch. You can also go and check out that video. Okay. So collection of many decision tree and more of this table and usually have the higher accuracy because it tried to taking here the many amount or more amount of decision tree and try to taking the average of that. That's why it had the higher accuracy. Good. And after that, the support vector machine. Okay, support vector machine. You can say SBC also. So this is nothing but find here optimal boundaries between the disease classes. So it's basically creating here a boundary of that. Let's say this is the headache, or let's say this is the ulcer, or you can say any of them. So this is nothing but creating here a boundary of that. Okay, and works well in high dimensional data. If you have the high dimensional data, you can basically using here these support vector machines. Okay, and the Gaussian NP, it's based on probability. We know that because naive Bayes is nothing but a probabilistic algorithm as well. It's based on probability, and it assume feature in basically independence, and it's very very fast because it's working in the base of probability. That's why. Okay, now let's go in the code. So you can see we basically give it here our CB accuracy is basically You can using here F1 weighted or ROC or ASC curve and for the multi-classes. Okay, and you can see here using here this stratified scaffold and give it here the number of split is basically 1 and shuffle is equal to 2. That you can see shuffle is equal to 2 here. And random state is 42, so that it don't change here state again and again. And then we simply going to iterate to all the items from our models and try to fit with the cross validation score. We passing here X samples and our Y samples. And CB scoring, number of jobs, and error score, it make it rise. Okay, and we simply going to print it out, and you can see here decision tree, this our score, and you're taking the average of that, and random for the score, we're taking the average of that, and this is for SVM, we're taking the average from that. Okay, now let's apply here the SPC. Okay, because SVM model have 50% accuracy, and I am simply going to taking here the SPC right now. Okay, you can also take it here the random forest, you can take it here the decision tree. Okay, I just go take it and then check it for the accuracy. Okay, first I'm going to printing this out, and after that I'm going to printing it for Gaussian NB as well. So this is super simple. The confusion matrix is basically taking the Y sample and the SVM predictions. It's been that how cool or how predicted, how well your data space is predicted. So you can see here in the diagonals these kind of things. Okay, so you can see those kind of it correctly predicted and this kind of wrongly predicted, like this way. You can see 5, 5, and 12. Okay, so this is the accuracy of the SVM, which one is nothing but 65 and 53%. Some of them is correctly scored and some of them is not. Okay, this is how it basically work, and you can see on here. And now what you can do is simply going to using it here. But if I see this one, you can see that using here the same data X sample and the Y sample, as well as using here this X sample and Y sample. This is nothing but our predicted data. Okay, this is our prediction score, and this is for the training score, and this is for unseen data. For unseen data, we got here 60.53%. Now let's see for the Gaussian NB. So for the Gaussian MB, maybe got here, okay, 33%, what is quite lost. Okay, you can see 71%, 71 data is wrongly predicted. 57 is wrongly predicted. It's been that it have some problem. But if I see this confusion matrix, it's good, not so bad actually. But in terms of that, you can see some wrong prediction as well. So that's why 37%. Now you can also check for the random forest classifier. It's basically for our testing data. So in case of random forest, it's nothing but 68.9%. That's cool. Yeah, it's working very well. I see. Because dataset is imbalanced, so you may got some of the lower accuracy, but it's also work. Okay. Now we can simply going to see the final predictions. We can simply go into zip here as predictions, the NB predictions and the RF predictions. I mean, we simply going to zip it out and try to creating here and confusion matrix of both. Okay, I mean that's our final prediction. It's been that we are basically ensembling here the multiple models that you can see. It means that random forest, the SVMs, and the NumPy. Okay, so you can simply go into printing this out, and we can see the accuracy is basically 60.6%. Okay, this is nothing but about the final predictions for each of the models, and we're taking here the prediction of that. Okay, and then after that we are basically creating here and prediction models. So you take it here symptoms and symptom index, because you also need the symptom index. Why? Basically we converting here our disease into the numerical columns. Okay, now you need to back to the numerical to the categorical, that's why. And then you're creating here a function called predict disease, and which is nothing but taking here the input symptoms, and you split it based on the comma, because you need to give it to here data in the from a comma, because it's skin rash, fever, and the headache. And then you can see it's converted the data in this format. Okay, and we're taking the symptom, which are the symptom it have. We are going to take it to the comma, and we're simply going to convert it into the data frame, the input data, and in the form of columns we passing here our symptoms. Okay, and then our the random forest predictions, the NB, the SVM, and also our final prediction is actually happening. We're just going to combining these both three models. Okay, and then after that you can see that's our predictions. And if I'm going to running this out, you can see random forest prediction is peptic ulcer disease. For the naive bias is the impetigo. For SVM is peptic ulcer disease, and final prediction is peptic ulcer disease, because we taking here the average of that. That's why. Okay, it's been that in this full project we are basically using here multiple model, and we taking here the average of that. Let's say for the 3 model, 2 model is said that this is nothing but peptic ulcer disease. So that's why the answer should be the peptic ulcer disease. This means our final predictions. Okay, this is how you can basically use it for your data for creating here the hybrid models. Okay, so this is very important in terms of disease prediction, and dataset is quite imbalanced. And let's see the final architecture summary, what we actually do. Okay, so first we are basically loading here our datasets, and we basically encode here our targets. So you can see basically encode here our targets. You can say like that. This target is also happening. Target means we have the multiple classes. We are converting it from, let's say, 0 to 80 like that. And you also handling here the imbalance using here the random oversampling, using the oversampling. And you also pre-process our data sets. Okay, and then you do the cross validations using 5 scaffold, and you also training here 3 models, and you also evaluate each using here our accuracy metrics. And you also do the ensemble voting, because we taking here the 3 machine learning model, and after that we simply going to give the voting of that and to checking that which have the majority votings. So when you have the majority voting, we're simply going to print it as the final predictions. And then we're creating here an deployable prediction function so that you can use it later on. When you are basically creating here any kind of API, you can basically using here these methods that you can see on here. Yep, here you can using here this method. You can creating here API. You can also creating here an UI for that. Okay, you can also using here the Google Integrity or GPT to creating this. Okay, so that's it for today. Now I hope you enjoy this full tutorial, and make sure to subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. So I'll be back with another tutorial. So till then, take care and bye bye.